I would like to welcome you to a very different, very special program because we will be analyzing the 1%. That is, the economically powerful people. When we say 1%, we're not talking about wealthy people or even very wealthy people or even people who are within the 1% of their earnings. We're talking about a small group of multi-billionaires, approximately 300 families in all, who are enslaving humanity. And we will be analyzing them scientifically, their behavior, their mental condition, their psychological condition, because we'll be using a science to do this, a scientific analysis. That is, the science that includes the foundations of psychoanalysis, Freudian, which comes from Freud, Melanie Klein, Bion, the aspects of the contributions to this field that are correct, not the aspects that are incorrect, that cannot be verified. We will be including philosophy of life, because that's quite necessary, the great thinkers of humanity. We'll be considering a spiritual aspect of the human being, the theological part. So using these three fields, this science is known as Analytical Trilogy, because we use science, philosophy, and theology, spirituality, in order to analyze something more profoundly. Our social state, the pathology, as we say, the scientific word for illness, the pathology of society, the psychopathology of the individuals, and especially the psychopathology of those people who wield economic power, because they are creating the greatest disturbance we are having on our planet today. So we need to see this more clearly, because most people, they agree, they're greedy, they're corrupt, but they don't really perceive how imbalanced they are. This is the question. What is their intention for humanity? What is their psychological state? And as we're going to see, they are very imbalanced, very sick individuals. Okay? So, in the spirit of Liberty Square, and by the way, it's not Zuccotti Park. We've changed the name. The 99% have changed this name because this park belongs to the public. It doesn't belong to the 1%. You know, they think that they own the world. They really think that they are the owners of the world, of the petroleum, of all the resources. They're the owners of us because they are mentally deranged. Let's speak clearly, okay? And so it is no longer Zuccotti Park, it is Liberty Square. So in the spirit of Liberty Square, let's see a video clip speaking a little bit about the 1%. Can we roll that video? Here we go. Well, I'm representing a book that is historic because it's the first scientific study ever written about the psychopathology of people with economic power. We study them, their mental condition. You know, for example, if you have 5,000 times the amount of money that you could ever use in one lifetime, then why would you fight to get more? Why would you want more? Okay? It's a mental condition that these people have. We study this. And so the main problem is, what are the techniques that they use, these economically powerful people, the international bankers and these people around them? What's the technique they use to enslave humanity? Because you can notice, this is the problem today. This is why everybody's here on Wall Street. Everybody has their own grievance of injustice. Because they've enslaved not only individuals, but companies and even entire nations. You know, for example, the United States government is completely in debt to these bankers. You know, everybody knows that the Fed is privately owned by a secret sex society, the Knights Templars. You know, it's the same guys, these economically powerful people. You know, they have a plan for the world. They're enslaving us. So, what is the technique that they use to enslave everybody? And we've been analyzing this for years, and what we see is that the use of usury, which in the past, in cultures in the past, they know that usury is highly immoral. It's an unethical process and very destructive, not only to economy, but to society. Okay? So if usury is something completely immoral, then why do we continue to recognize that as something valid? This book is written by psychoanalyst, social scientist Norberto Keppe. And the name of this book is called Liberation of the People, The Pathology of Power. And it's, as I said, it's historic in the sense that it's the first study ever done of the pathology of people with economic power. And it's the best until today. You know, it's absolutely fascinating. If you read this book, your vision of the world will never be the same. They take the capital that people get by working, you know, from the companies, and then they speculate with that, making money with money, and giving nothing in return to society. Do you see? They make themselves rich with the capital that comes from companies. Well, this capital belongs to people who work. It doesn't belong to the 1%, as we call them. And so, through this process of making money with money, they devaluate the dollar and they destroy the real economy, the working force of the nation. You know, agriculture and industry and even commerce and people who work. So capital must be used in the benefit of those who work and not to the benefit of the 1% who use it to destroy those who work, marginalize those who work, and make themselves rich. This has to stop. The question of financial speculation is something that destroys economy. It's difficult for people, we're so brainwashed that we need these people. It's difficult for people at first to perceive this, you know? Okay, for example, somebody who is psychopathic, they're very clever because, first of all, they don't have any capacity to work. They will not do anything for anybody. They don't serve. So what they do is they get themselves into positions of power, very clever, you know, in order to dominate other people. And then they vent their hatred and envy, you know, with full force. And you know, the founding fathers of our nation were very concerned about that. You can see in the writings of Thomas Paine, of Alexander Hamilton, of Jefferson, that it's a constant fight to how could I say, to be on guard for these psychopaths that they don't get into power. By the way, my name is Gilbert Gambucci, and I am one of the occupiers of Wall Street since our Liberty Square days. And I would like to pass on to you a personal experience. And that is, it was a kind of a phenomenon, a wonderful phenomenon to see and participate in. And that is our demonstrations, our marches. They're very celebrative. You know, we have a determination that is unwavering. Don't think that we're going away for some reason. But it's the spirit of celebration that is so interesting to see, because we are perceiving, we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, let's say, what Martin Luther King would call the promised land. Do you know that it's near? You know, he saw it in his day, in the 60s. So if we can't see it like a few months before the beginning of it, then we have to pay more attention to this. That's why the marches are so celebrative. And that's why at Liberty Square, people were so happy there. It wasn't the greatest, most comfortable situation in the world, of course, but people from all over the United States were coming there to participate. And not only the United States, but all over the world. And there was so much joy in that situation that the 1%, they can't stand that. They can't stand to see people happy and developing. You know, we need to see better, I think, what is a real society. What is a society that is the promised land? Something more just, more beautiful, something more authentic, less hypocritical. And so I thought I would let an author show us a little bit. His name is Norberto Keppe. He's the science of this he's the author of this science, Analytical Trilogy. And I have a little television clip of him explaining what is a real society. I think it's fascinating, this perspective. And so I would like to pass it on to you. As he is Austrian, Brazilian, speaking Portuguese, I've taken the liberty to dub this into English so that we can benefit from this. Let's roll this video of Dr. Keppe explaining what is a real society.
But evidently, the paradise that God organized was not a paradise of little trees and little animals and little fruits and Adam and Eve by themselves. It was a super advanced society that was very dynamic and balanced, sane, where the individuals could live forever. And this development was so great that when the fall took place, the individuals in the past, there are historic accounts that individuals lived till they were 700, 800, 900 years old. That is, this basic social fundamental energetic still prevailed for a very long time. So this is what we are trying to rescue in this work.
This is why I've written this book, Social Pathology.
Yes, let me show it.
This book was written to show that not only the human being is sick, but society itself is also sick. And so what would society be in its essence, in its original structure? Let's see the slide I've got for us.
The essence of society. The constitution of the essence of society is goodness, the truth, and beauty.
For a society to be good, even perfect, to be sane, it needs to advocate what is good, needs to provide for the people what is good, what is truthful, and also what is beautiful for the people. This is essential. Beauty is fundamental in order to live. So much so that a society that does not bring these three elements is pathological. For example, a society that only wants to deal with money, a society that only wants to deal with power of weapons, is a society that is being jeopardized by these groups who are only interested in this type of conduct, which is highly pathological. Let's see the second one.
Without these elements, society enters into decay.
That is, without beauty, without goodness, or without the truth, of course. If it weren't for these three elements, then why have a society? To generate a group of androgynous people, a pack of robots to wage war, this is absurd. There is that sentence of Cicero's, "If you want peace, prepare yourself for war." This is wrong. If you want peace, you have to provide peace, and not weapons to wage war. But this erroneous sentence, this idea, is followed by all those in power, and it's completely wrong. Referring back to the slide, let's see number 3.
Power is bad if it does not incentivate goodness, reason, and what is aesthetic. Observation. The real power is in a conduct that is good, beautiful, and truthful.
Just notice, for example, a power that incentivates making money is not a just social power. And in fact, it incentivates making fortunes of money for private entities. The money that society has is for the people, and not for one or another fortunate person, or one who is more conniving, one or another individual who is capable of speculating on the stock market and making money only for himself. So Adam Smith's idea is totally wrong, that an individual who knows how to make money for himself knows how to make money for others. This is rubbish. He makes money for himself and only for himself. In fact, it's to the contrary to what Adam Smith said. To make so much money the way he does, he has to extract it from others. So the founder of capitalism was totally inverted and led English society and the modern capitalist societies into this deadlock that they are now suffering. So let's consider the observation once again.
The real power is in good conduct, in the truth and in beauty.
And look, who is it who wields an evil power, an ugly, false power? Look at this photo.
David Rockefeller.
Do you think it's right that one family is the owner of nearly all the petroleum internationally? This is a joke. Petroleum is taken from the ground. It belongs to the people, to humanity, to society. Take a look at another person who exploited humanity and is seen as a hero. Look at his photo.
Andrew Carnegie.
He had a steelworks in the United States, and he was also a partner of petroleum. Now, I would like to show you the basic perceptions of how people can live well. What would those perceptions be? Referring to the slide.
It is fundamental to perceive that we are entering a new era of love and peace.
Like it or not, those who exploit the social structure, who exploit entire countries, who exploit humanity, need to perceive that their end is at hand. It's finished. Now it's a period of love and peace. It's a period in which all the people will benefit, because the situation these exploiters have created is in total collapse. You know, one day I'm going to show us in detail exactly how the 1% are completely anti-American. I want to show you how they are completely against the principles of our founding fathers of this nation and against the Constitution of the United States. They do everything they can to nullify it, even by law, even by creating unjust laws. And we're going to see in great detail exactly how that is. And so I really enjoy this word of Dr. Martin Luther King, Reverend King, civil disobedience. Because really, civil disobedience is obedience to the truth in the face of laws in society that are unjust. That is to say, laws that are benefiting only the 1% and are against the people. You know, we have to perceive better that the 1% are against the people. They hate us, they despise us, they attack us. You know, it's the psychopathology of the 1%. They are seriously mentally disturbed. This is something we need more consciousness about. And of course, they have their watchdogs to attack us, because they themselves are complete cowards. They hide behind the scenes. And you know, here at Occupy Wall Street, we don't have a big emphasis on the political field, because there's nothing more these economically powerful people would like than for the people to rise up against the politicians, because they are ready to replace the politicians with their technocrats, as they are doing already in Europe, because they don't want democracy. They hate democracy. They want to wipe it out so they can rule with an even more iron hand. If you don't perceive this yet, then I don't know what planet you're living on. But this is their intention. So the politicians, you know, it's up to them. They have to decide if they want to continue sleeping with the enemy or if they want to come to the side, the aid of the 99%. Because we will prevail. It's a question of time. You know, so if the politicians, if they want to go into eternity with this on their heads for the rest of eternity, in exchange for what? A yacht or something. You know, that's their problem. Okay? We're the 99%. And, you know, the word occupy. Occupy means taking back what belongs to you that the 1% stole from us. Whatever that may be. This is what we mean by occupy. Okay, so civil disobedience is actually obedience to the truth. And so if you're not doing civil disobedience, then you are obedient to what? To the 1%, to corruption, to unjust laws, to the nullification of our Constitution, our rights. You know, I have a little video clip that I would like us to see. What happens when the people become celebrative and are not demanding, that are living in their rights? Okay, let's see what happens. Let's roll the next video clip, please.
Get back.
He can't breathe, officer. Please get off his neck. He's just a kid, officer.
Now, the reason why I'm showing you this video clip is because I would like us to perceive better that the 1%, their attacking Liberty Square, was not an isolated incident. And in fact, they're continuing to attack, and not only here in New York, but nationwide. And not only nationwide, but worldwide. They're attacking anybody who is standing up for their constitutional rights. And so this proves that there's somebody, do you perceive there's somebody behind there orchestrating this attack? It is this little group of multi-billionaires, psychotic individuals, very imbalanced, that need to be restrained. And we don't want to injure them as they are trying to injure us, but they really need to be placed in mental institutions and kept there, okay, because they're very disturbed. And so this that's happening through the New York City Police Department, it's such a disgrace, a complete disgrace. And you know, it takes time for certain people to perceive that they are not law enforcement officers. This is a complete trick to get these people to work for them. The 1%. The police are the watchdogs of the 1%. You know, not even military people would attack their own citizens. And that's why the police are receiving military equipment and are being trained to learn how to use it. It's because the police are the most brainwashed group of people. This is a disgrace what's happening with the New York City Police Department, being used as the watchdogs for the 1% to attack us, and we are completely within our constitutional rights. We have the right to assemble, to peacefully assemble in any public place or private place. It's a constitutional right. So being attacked by the police shows that the 1%, they really think that they own the United States, regardless of our Constitution. You see, that's why you see their mental condition. They're completely out of reality. All right? And so, what about those of us who are looking on? You know, what do you think of this disgrace of the police attacking peaceful demonstrators? You know, what do you think about that? We can't allow that to continue. And you know, we're trying to conscientize the police. We're always talking to them. So look, you're not a part of the 1%. You know, you guys, you earn less than we do. You know, your families are in jeopardy. You're in the same boat as we are. But you know, they go through a training, a brainwash training that we'll analyze this on another program for us, so we can begin to perceive better that the police are acting on behalf of the 1%. They are serving them, and they don't quite realize it. You can notice that some of the police get very upset that they are placed in this position because they thought that they were law enforcement officers, but they are not. That's just a mask. Okay? They are the watchdogs of the 1%. And many of them get very upset being placed in this kind of situation. Others, the more aggressive ones, you can just see they enjoy what they are doing. Very imbalanced, very low-level, sick people, yeah, who are taken, and they have this pathological aspect developed in the training as policemen. It's a complete brainwashing. We'll see this. Even in spite of this, there's something that we should know. That there's a difference between courage and violence. Okay? Occupy Wall Street, we are non-violent because we are courageous. Can you see in these films? We are courageous. Now, the 1%, violence is a pathology. Aggression is a pathology. It's a sickness. And they are absolutely violent. Nonviolence is courage, and courage comes from being. It's even a divine thing. It comes from the being of the human being. So the 1% are sick. They are aggressive. They are violent. The 99%, we are not violent. We are courageous. So, occupy.